Very good, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Tuxedo Town Board meeting of April 10th, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. Can you please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a very busy agenda this evening, and the town board will be breaking off into an executive session at 8 p.m. this evening. Of course, we'll take a vote on that prior to going out, but pretty much have that already determined. This evening, we're going to start out with a public hearing on sewer use regulations. We're going to have a continuing presentation about Hamlet revitalization update by, I think, Deirdre, you'll be leading that? Very good. And so our agenda items have been modified somewhat. The second item, appointing an active code enforcement officer, is going to be stricken. We're going to review a resolution to enter an agreement with Fusco Engineering to provide building department services, a resolution settling of a tax certiorari claim, a resolution to appoint another part-time police officer, Margaret Carey, a resolution to approve a purchase of a John Deere mini excavator, resolution to approve a purchase of a John Deere Z-Track mower, resolution to approve a town clerk annual training, a resolution to approve BMI imaging services to convert microfiche to digital files. I think, Marissa, we also needed to add a resolution to allow me to sign the agreement, and Howard could, on the purchase of the mini excavator, that I'm authorized to actually sign the agreement, and Howard can verify that when we get to that item. So. It's in there. It's in there? Yeah. It wasn't mentioned, I don't think, directly on the agenda, but we'll get to it. Okay, very good. Wonderful. So I guess we'll just quickly ask for any comment on agenda items. Of course, if somebody has a comment when we get to an agenda item, please feel free to do that. Okay, we're going to start out with our public hearing on sewer use regulation. I'd like to open the public hearing on the sewer use regulations. I'll make a motion and ask for a second to open the public hearing on introductory local law sewer use regulations at 7:07 p.m. Do I have a second on that?
Go ahead.
I'll second.
Seconded by Michelle Lindsay. All in favor? Do we have to do a vote on that?
No, we just opened the meeting.
Oh, we just opened the meeting. Okay, very good.
I guess we actually had to.
Okay,
We just did.
All in favor? We all said aye, right? Yeah, okay, so we opened the public hearing. All right, Jay, are you going to run this public hearing?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
So let me just make a quick introduction for anybody who wasn't paying attention to the last meeting. The sewer law is exactly what it sounds like. It's the rules for running sewers in the town of Tuxedo. And it includes the requirement that if you're not in the location of a sewer system, you still have to have some sort of sewage treatment. You can't just dump your pot in the river. For those of you watching at home, I'm holding up the 80 pages of sewer law that is close typed and reads like a stereo manual. I'm sure everybody had a chance to read it. It's been up on the website for 2 weeks. It includes everything from how the sewers are to be constructed to how they're to be operated to whose job it is to chase down people who are not operating them correctly. One change from what is on the website, we've added language in section 7, which has to deal with inflow. Inflow is not permitted. let me take a step back. Inflow is non-sewage water, stormwater, swimming pool drains,
Some
things like
pumps.
that, sump pumps that are introduced into the sewer system. In the old days, when this sewer system was first constructed, that was considered good practice because it cleaned out the sewers. Nowadays, it is not, and for two major reasons. The first is operational. Too much clean water dilutes the sewage too much for the microorganisms at the sewer plant to do their job. The second, perhaps more practical reason for most people is that with the new sewer plant, we pay by the gallon. So we don't want to have to be paying to clean already clean water. The Section 7, which deals with inflow and makes it now illegal to have inflow and requires sources of inflow that can be practically eliminated to be eliminated. We amended that to make it clear that if a property is a source of inflow, the cost of stopping the inflow is the responsibility of the property owner, not the town. The town is responsible for the other I in I&I, which is infiltration, which is water that gets into the sewer unintentionally. So through broken pipes, through open joints, things like that.
Manholes.
Manholes, correct. I'm going to stop there and ask if, I guess, anybody on the board, for starters, has any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Okay, I'll try to answer it.
So if somebody who has traditionally, not just gonna use this as an example, drained their swimming pool into the old system, and they are not aware of the new law, are they going to be, how are they gonna be notified? A, how are we gonna find out that that's happening? B, how are they gonna be notified so that they can take the proper steps to rectify that situation before we start to get them to have to pay for it?
Right, good question. So, the law starts out by saying it's no longer allowed.
Right. I
And then
know
it says
that,
if we
yeah.
discover it, you have to fix it.
Okay.
How would we discover it? We may, in the course of repairs or something like that, discover that there is a large amount of inflow happening.
Okay,
And so then the sewer department, which is actually the highway department, but the superintendent of sewers, if they discovered where that source was coming from, would then go to you, knock on your door and say, Ms.
Okay.
Deirdre, we have an issue. There is also a provision that says, if you sell your house, you typically get a building inspection for a final CO before you sell the house.
right,
The building inspector can look for possible sources of inflow, or there's also language that says, the assessor and the tax department can say, hey, this house is being sold, you can go and have a look.
Well, let me also add, we will be sending a letter to everyone
okay,
of the 216 properties that not only update them on the fantastic work that's happened in opening up the new sewer plant and all the very diligent work that's happening to repair the 100-year-old collection system.
Okay.
Everyone will receive information
okay.
that advises them of these changes.
Good.
And
So
so
they'll be
that answers the
notified.
question
Oh, yeah.
that everyone will be notified.
yeah, okay,
Absolutely,
that was my
absolutely.
question, thank you.
No, thank you for
But, yeah.
even reminding me that we will be notifying everyone.
Yeah, good,
And relatively soon.
okay,
Okay, good.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Anyone else? No? All right,
Howard,
then
did you
let's-
have anything you wanted to add? Just, I know you did last time.
Nope, I think you've covered it and Jay's covered it.
Great. So now,
I'd like to open this up now. It is the public hearing, so we'd like to hear from the public. If anyone has comments, questions, we'll get you answers. I can't promise they'll be today. It depends on how tricky the question is.
anyone in the audience have a home that feeds into the Hamlet Sewer District? Huh? I'm sorry?
Jerry does. Do we have a choice?
But the this is for people who aren't connected.
You're talking about heavy infiltration.
Yes.
What about like a couple days of rain?
Well, so the main source of infiltration is groundwater. So then the question is, how's it getting into the sanitary source? Because we don't, as far as we know, have very many combined source, which is a good thing. Either it's spilling through manhole covers that don't fit properly, or 100-year-old manholes that are made out of brick and it's coming through the joints in the brick, or the source system is constructed, and Sean, jump in when I say something wrong, the source system is constructed out of either clay pipe, which comes in about 3 to 4 foot lengths, or cast iron pipe, which comes in about 4 to 5 foot lengths, and every joint is a source of possible infiltration. So what we've done so far, because we discovered when the new plant came online that we have a fairly significant infiltration problem, more than we thought, we have done some initial investigation by lifting manhole covers, looking for where the water's coming, and video camera work to look at the condition of the pipe. And we have found a number of locations where pipes are severely broken. There's at least one location where the pipe just ends at a wall of gravel. So maybe there's a pipe on the other side, maybe there isn't. But when the groundwater goes through the gravel, guess what? It goes right down the pipe. So we're going to do some sort of emergency level repairs to deal with those major flow issues. And then there's going to be a long-term project of modernizing the collection system. More on that later. We're already looking for places to get the money. Yeah, talking about that. How do you feel about sewers? I'm an engineer, I could talk about them all day. So, did that look like a long answer to a short question? Was that what you were looking for?
Somewhat.
Okay.
I think the other point, though, is that would be the responsibility of the town of Tuxedo, not the homeowner.
Infiltration is,
The infiltration that
is,
you're talking about.
yes, it's actually not even the whole town of Tuxedo, it's actually the Hamlet Sewer District.
Yeah. Thank you.
No
One step
further
at a time.
public comment?
Any other
Doesn't look
public
like it.
comments?
Anybody online?
If anybody online has a comment about the sewer law, that's the only thing we're discussing. This is a public hearing. You could raise your hand electronically or unmute yourself. So I don't think we're having any public comment. Oh, we do have a hand raised from a dial-in. Can you unmute yourself and identify yourself, please?
Hi, it's Evelyn. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for all the work. My goodness. Okay, so the new development, they'll all be online, correct? It's just a question. They'll all be
Yes.
using the sewer system.
Yes.
Okay.
Sewer plant,
And those
but
will all
not the
be new
collection
pipes.
system. Not the collection system that we're talking about right now, but yes, the sewer
Oh,
law
okay.
will affect them as well, of course.
Right. There is
Okay.
another collection system that services Tuxedo Farms. And it's a separate sewer district.
Okay.
And
Okay.
since they just put
So
it in, we
this-
assume it's in good shape.
This system is for the 200 and some properties that you stated, that it's for the properties that don't have septic systems.
Correct. It is the
Right.
Hamlet and the
Okay.
East Village.
Right.
Predominantly, there are a couple of dozen properties in the village of Tuxedo Park that are also on this system because of the mysteries of gravity.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I mean, the sewer law covers everyone. It covers Tuxedo Farms, just their system is either brand new or not yet installed. So they don't have the same I&I problems, I hope, that we have.
Let's hope.
Okay.
But if not, that's.
Thank you very
that's on
much.
them.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Please.
Oh, please.
So with regard to Tuxedo Farms,
Your microphone might not be on, okay.
I think I got two, actually.
All
With
right.
regard to Tuxedo Farms, when the highway department started investigating the increased flows that they were seeing, folks from Tuxedo Farms and the operators took a look at the manhole coming in to see if there was any flow. It is possible that they could have had a contributing factor to that. No flow was coming down through their pipes. I mean, it was very easy to discern because there was no flow. In terms of this law, it does include everybody throughout the town, but it does also not just include hamlet sewer users, but also if you have your own sewage disposal system, a septic system. There are provisions in here, although much less, that regulate the permitting of those and the inspection of those and everything else. So it pretty much covers everybody in the town that utilizes a sewage system.
One important thing that we brought up last meeting, but I'll bring it up again. It's really unclear why we are doing this. I mean, we're doing it because we need to. What's unclear is that why we don't have this law in the books already.
Oh,
This is, why, because we were here before the county kind of stuff, right? Nothing personal.
it's interesting.
But one of the things is that the town is currently under a consent order with the DEC because of the condition of the old sewer plant, which was state-of-the-art 100 years ago when they built it, et cetera. One of the items in the consent order to get it lifted is passing this law. This law also comes almost verbatim from the model law published by the DEC, who has jurisdiction over these things. Howard and Sean, with a very small amount of input from me, tailored this as much as we can to our situation. But there's a lot of this stuff that is just, it doesn't make any sense, it's just what it is.
I think what happened was the inspector that inspected your sewer plant for a number of years retired, and a new inspector came in. And I think just on his own, he just wanted to confirm that you did have a sewer law. And when he went to the website and looked at your town code, he was surprised to find that you did not. And I was surprised, frankly, that you did not have one. So the law that you're discussing tonight is based off of a 1994 model law, and that was the last time the DEC made a great push for communities to adopt these. So for whatever reason, it wasn't done in the 90s, and here you are now.
So I think everybody who's wanted to be heard has been heard.
Right,
Are
and
we-
actually, we're going to adjourn the meeting, we're gonna adjourn the public hearing until 7 o'clock at the next meeting. So in case anybody wants to study up and come in with new questions, they can.
Okay.
We're doing that not only because we want public input on this very important piece of legislation, but because we changed the language of the law, it has to sit on our desks for at least a week before we can vote on it. So you guys got the updated copy today, and so
Could you call out specifically where that change was made?
I can, but wait a second, it's a very small print. It is section 80-46, which is on page 42,
Last sentence.
the last sentence. So existing inflow sources disconnected is 80-46. It says you have to disconnect them, and then it says all costs of compliance shall be borne by the property owner.
That's the new.
That's the new addition
In its entirety.
in its entirety.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing until April 24th at 7 PM.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, very good. And I would also like to, I'm hoping, I'd like to schedule, Marissa, when you're putting the agenda together, a resolution to adopt, assuming nothing else causes us to move it further down the line. All yours.
Okay. The second item we have is a presentation on the Hamlet revitalization update led by Councilperson Deirdre Murphy.
Do you want to introduce our guest first?
I thought I'd wait till after this.
Perfect, very good.
So I've prepared prepared a little presentation to basically give an overview of our work that we've done on economic development in Tuxedo. Basically going over where we started, where we are, where we need to be, and just to get some overview, we've taken a lot of these plans to many of the residents, gotten feedback, so I'm going to share that with you, and just basically giving you an update. I am starting at the beginning because most people who we talked to didn't know that this has been a process that's been going on for some time. So we're going to do this one? Okay. So back in 2018, before my time, many committees had been formed by Michelle, one of them being an economic development committee, one of them being, it was called POR, also Parks and Recreation, a variety of different residents participated. And the goal was to basically prioritize some of the things that the residents believed would be important to move forward. And so they took all this information, I put a presentation together, and we presented this, frankly, at your house, Ken, to the Orange County administration. So basically, at the time, what we were trying to do is trying to prioritize all the things that needed to happen in Tuxedo. So we all know the pandemic happened, and that sort of got put on the side. However, despite the preoccupation last year with Tuxedo Farms, the sewer plant, all the priorities, those were the real priorities of Tuxedo, we really were able to do a couple of things. So for Parks and Recreation, the PG field was redone. Lucky Park was cleaned up along with the police department. There were activities with the dog park. We also started the Tuxedo Art and Music. We did plein air. We did a holiday concert. So we did start some of the things that had been started by this POR group back in 2018. So also, part of the economic development was to take a look at what kind of monies we could get from the county, from the state. And so we did a little research on that and found that without doing proper investigations and get data sourcing, we weren't really going to be able to get anywhere. So we decided to look into a Greenway study, which we were approved for. And that Greenway study is something that will give us an economic view of what's happening in Tuxedo. The other thing we did was we took a look at the comprehensive plan that was written in 2003 and went back to the original engineers and landscape architects, engineers, whatever, and asked them to revisit and see where we are today versus where we were 20 years ago. We talked to people at the Department of Transportation, and we also initiated a request to put in a school zone. One of the things that everyone talked about was traffic calming in the Hamlet. And then recently, because of the approval of the LPC, of the Tuxedo Farms, what happened in 2022 is the LDC grant opportunity became a reality. Lastly, the other thing that we've done is a Climate Smart program. So those are the things we did in 2022, aside from the very important Tuxedo Farms and sewer plant. Okay, so where are we now? One of the things that the POR committee all pointed out, and when we went to government people, they all pointed out, when you take a look at a town, you have to look at where do you eat, where do you sleep, where do you shop. So when anybody looks at Tuxedo, you have to look at where do you eat, where do you sleep, where do you shop. Not just the people who live here, but the people who come here. So, and then we have the future people who are coming here. So if you take a look at the visitors that come here, Tuxedo is remarkably positioned with tourism. 225,000 people come here every year for the Renaissance Festival. In, what is it, 4 months, four weekends? You also have the worldwide headquarters of the Jehovah's Witness. You also have hikers and Sterling Forest Visitor Center. So we're getting all of these visitors from all the way around, and we are not capturing where they eat, where they sleep, and where they shop. they're going to Monroe, they're going to Suffern, they're going to Sloatsburg. So this is something we sort of have to look at in terms of how do we get this sort of program going in town to help us. So that's the goal of the economic program. So what do you need to do that? Well, you need an economic analysis. You need an infrastructure and understanding it and what are the improvements. You need a beautification and parking program. And you need, more important than anything, a plan on how you're going to implement it, how you're going to recruit people to come here to have business. How am I doing, Michelle? Have you been missing anything? Okay, so recapping the Greenway Grant. This is who's here, what's here, where are they, who do we need, what businesses are people going outside to find, how do we get them to come here, who's going to thrive here, and who's not. So, people say we need a supermarket. Well, do we have enough people? Probably not, but do we have enough people for something that is a specialty, like a Trader Joe's? So can we, in fact, get enough data so that we can then go out and recruit businesses to come here with the information that would make it an interesting place to be? So that is something that we're putting an RFP out, and we're getting that hopefully by September. That's one. Two is infrastructure. We have the Burgess study, I'm going to go over that. We have a request to establish a safety zone. Two things here. One is for safety, also traffic calming. We have, thanks to Rob, found the MTA traffic proposal, which I'm going to show you what that is. And we want to talk to the DOT about opportunities of how we can enhance traveling through the hamlet. That's two. So, Burgess study. We asked them to evaluate the plan and to come up with some recommendations. So the first phase was information gathering, mapping, and some concepts. We have those concepts, we went around, we showed it to people, and we've gotten some feedback, so I'm going to go through this particular study and concepts so we can take a look at it. The brief that we gave them was based on the information from the comprehensive plan. We needed connectivity. How do you get everybody who can walk around the hamlet and connect? Two, flow. How do people come into the hamlet? How do they move around the hamlet in terms of traffic, pedestrian, and bikes? Where can we add bikes? Because this has become a focal point in New York State. Where can we review and leave the sidewalks or enhance the sidewalks? How can we add sidewalks that have more space so they could possibly accommodate bike lanes? Lighting. If you go downtown, there's no lights. How do we put in some lighting that's going to make it an attractive place to be? And beautification. How do we make it more beautiful so that people want to be here? People like to be in beautiful places. It's just a fact. So with that, this is the master plan that was recommended by Burgess. So if you start, let's start on the right. Coming from the East Village, where you have the municipal parking lot, they're recommending we add sidewalks that come up, go across the train station, the railroad tracks, go up, across a little park that is owned by the town, along, then back around the train station. Now, the sidewalks are on the inside of the berm, the berm that we have, because the berm is actually in the right-of-way of Route 17. So we made sure that we tried to stay on town property, not intrude on any private property or state property, such as Route 17. So then you can go across, you go to the right, and you go along where there's the bus station, which is also the Tuxedo Square, then up and across, which gives you access to the Historical Society and then up to the park. And then if you go from the left, you go up, you go up Van Sant, down Store Road to Hospital Road, where we're recommending that they put in a circle there, so that it really does divide the hamlet commercial section from the residential section. And then another not a crosswalk, but in the back, in this side, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this. This is all walkways that are flush to the road. So they're not raised so that it won't interrupt on traffic because those roads are narrow. And it also, though, will delineate where people can walk in a safe way. And then you come back down and we're recommending, or they are recommending, that we put a light there on Hospital Road to go across to then join the hamlet on the other side. So that's basically it. I can show you a little bit more in a detail. This is a recommendation from the MTA that would add two traffic lights at the East Village. So going across into the park. Now this is an MTA drawing. This is from 2020. So this, we sort of have to keep this in mind because this is also a plan that's in front of the state, New York State DOT.
I think it's actually from 2015.
But the one I have is 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they revised it. They keep revising it and sending it and revising it and sending it. Little more detail on again, the train station part. This is a raised sidewalk, and also we'll have a lighting solution that goes along with it. So this area will be lit as you go down at night, and that has to be determined as what kind of lighting, how late does it stay on, blah, blah, blah. Again, these are concepts. This is going down to the East Village. And then showing you how it connects. And then again, to the other side. So basically, this is the general concept of the Burgess plan. So it's connectivity. I think I actually said this. It's connectivity. It's emphasis on safety. It's trying to create an environment that's friendly, and it only is on town property. So this is just basically the first in a long-term plan on how to move forward. So it's step one. There is no silver bullet here. This is step one, and we have to pursue other options. This is just a picture of what Store Road looks like now, and a little rendering of what the concept is. So, as promised, we went and talked to people on Store Road. Haven't talked to every single person, but we've talked to a lot of people. We talked to TPA, Noreen from the Chamber of Commerce. We had a meeting with the library, the president and the vice president, and Diane Loomis, Michael Bruno, recently the Historical Society. We've run our plan past the Orange County Partnership. We've shown it to Rob, who pointed out the MTA missing piece. And we'd like to schedule a public meeting to go over this with everybody in the town as well. This is the type of next steps of beautification that many of the towns are doing around the Hudson Valley. They're taking space that really looks terrible, and they're trying to make it beautified, and they're doing it with a lot of information they're getting from each other. To be honest, if you go on the internet, you can find all these little towns throughout Hudson Valley that are beautifying their space. What they're doing is they're trying to activate space that's really not used that much. They're trying to incorporate pedestrian and bike paths, which is also a lot of parts of grant money is emphasizing that. Connectivity, creating unique public settings. They're using street art, kinetic art, murals, etc. They're adding a lot of greenery, and they're really looking to invite people into their towns rather than repelling their people from their towns. So that would be a step two. That's not included in this budget. But I just found some local types of visuals so that people can understand sort of the kind of look that we'd like to achieve. I mean, Tuxedo is a beautiful, beautiful town. And unfortunately, when you drive through it, you just don't get to see that. little, different applications in terms of sidewalks. And then this could be just a concept for the end of Store Road, going up. Lastly, like I said, no one thing is going to solve this problem. No one thing is going to bring economic development to Tuxedo. It needs a lot of things. It needs a long-term plan with different stages along the plan that basically will bring these things into a cohesive forward movement. I know a lot of people have said, well, Tuxedo Farms is an economic development. Well, right now, let's go back. There's no place for them to eat, sleep, or shop, or their friends. So if they come here, they're going to go to Suffern, they're going to go to Monroe, they're going to eat in Sloatsburg, and we really want them here. So that's what I'm really trying to do here, is put together a plan so you can see that it's not a one-step deal. It's many, many steps to get to the long-term result. So what do you need? You need community understanding and an economic understanding of what is about the town. You need an infrastructure which involves the state, the county, and the town. You need to create friendly spaces for residents, visitors, and new business. And most importantly, you need a pull-through program. So all those things together, you need to then go out and find people and explain to them why they want to be here. And with those facts, I think you can do that. So, with that said, here are our next steps. We should decide whether we want to go forward or not. If we do, then we should finalize this planogram and get a real budget. Preparing a final budget would be phase one, and then getting board approval and applying for an LDC grant. Now, when we started this, many, many years ago, we did not count on the LDC grant, but that is something that's become available now. Long term, everybody I talked to told me their number one priority would be to work on the Route 17 diet, the road diet, to basically take what Sloatsburg has done and improve it. Because the one thing about not being the first is you get to look what somebody did the first time and improve it. But they basically really wanted to have walkways, barricades between the highway and pedestrians as they go through Sloatsburg. That was a big priority. Lighting was second. So those are the two things. But we need to develop a business and development and action plan, and we have to figure out how we can get more funds. Thank you for being here. To the county and the state. There's a lot of money available, but they've all told me they will look at you. If you invest in your town, they'll invest in you. If you don't invest in your town, they're not that interested in you. So, my final slide is, I did some research at Reggie's Bar. They were all happy to see me. I was the only one there, but I did go in. So I think this is great. It's the #1 bar in Tuxedo, and it's the only bar in Tuxedo. So that's it. That's my presentation. And sorry.
Actually, it's not the only bar. Steve's has a bar.
That's true. I was at Steve's before I went to Reggie's Bar, and I actually had a cocktail there too. So you're right. Okay, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Evan, that's great, and, oh, thank you. And going back to that presentation that we gave in 2020, the second or third slide, if you could do that. Oh, I'm sorry. But on that slide, we had county and state officials were participating in that event, and thank you very much. That came about, as you said, Deirdre, from working with Bill Fioravanti from the Orange County Department of Economic Development. And he came and we initially had, different meetings between 25 and 30 people from different all different stakeholders, different organizations throughout the town. We did a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is pretty much what the Greenway Grant is going to
Right.
take, and will give them all that research and all that input that we developed back in 2018, and give it to the Greenway study to analyze further as to what opportunities and how to bring those opportunities to Tuxedo. So a lot of work has been done for a number of years, and out of that came the POUR group, which is Parks, Outdoor Recreation and Events, which led to Tuxedo Art and Music. So things have been slowly evolving, and now it's just, we need to take it to the next level. We have applied for the statewide consolidated funding application a couple of times, but the feedback that I got was that we didn't have engineering plans. So it, basically I was asking for money for engineering plans, but they wanted to see that we had actually done some first. So the consolidated funding application is due at the end of July. We need to know if we're going to move forward or not very soon, so that we can apply for the funding through the consolidated funding application, as well as the Tuxedo LDC grant program. The road diet is something that a lot of people come back to us about. We've been talking to the DOT. Previously, there wasn't support because we didn't know how the road diet was going to work in Sloatsburg. But now that it is working quite well, it does make sense for us to go back to the DOT. But of course, that's a super long-term program. I think it took them about 4 or 5 years to get that through. So, but we're moving forward. This is at the Burgess study that is the focus of connectivity and pedestrian safety is what we feel we can achieve this year. And that's why we're kind of focusing a little bit on that now, because it's achievable right away. We've spoken with some contractors to just get some estimates, and Jay has been very good about looking at our numbers, and so we feel pretty good about being able to move forward with it this year. So that's why we're hoping the town board can give us some feedback on whether the board wants to move forward or not, so that we can prepare the application for the July deadline.
Thank you, Deirdre, and thank you, Michelle, for continuing to educate us on the different notions of moving Tuxedo Hamlet revitalization, and that with the Greenway Grant, the whole Route 17 corridor. I'd like to take a moment now to welcome, Marissa, could you possibly get the camera to a wider angle so?
All right.
Assemblyman Bravenik? First of all, again, I'd like to welcome you to the Tuxedo Town Board meeting, and I know you represent the 98th District here, and that you're the Deputy Minority Whip in the Assembly, and thank you for coming out to Tuxedo. I know you've been here before, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you're working on in Albany that affects the Lower Hudson Valley, and maybe anything you could think of with particular interest to what you heard here tonight about Tuxedo.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor,
Thank you,
and
first of all. I'd like to welcome you,
town
sir.
board members.
Thank you,
It's
sir.
good to see you again.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Maria and I just came to the same event up in Newburgh. We were at Congressman Ryan's new opening for his district office in Newburgh. So that a lot of people there. He's got a lot of support, which is good, and hopefully he can do some good things for all of his district, which is all of Orange County. So, but no, very honored to be here. It's a delight to be here. Thank you for the invitation to, or Michelle for inviting me, also Maria for inviting me about 2 months ago here, and was looking forward to the tour, but we'll do another tour, on another time. It's been crazy up in Albany. Right now, the budget is in limbo in Albany, unfortunately. It was due on April 1st, but the people that are negotiating the budget can't seem to agree on certain items. And it looks like the legislature is this section and the governor's in this section, so they're kind of far away. We've passed 2 extenders to the previous budget, one we passed today, actually came from Albany today, which extends it to April 17th, the current budget. And that's to make sure that a lot of the state employees are paid, the bills are paid, and that kind of thing. So we'll be returning to Albany next Monday to go to the next round of trying to get a budget in place for next year. A lot of things on the table are, revisions to bail reform. There's also a new proposal that the governor is trying to put into the budget that would bring about 800,000 new housing units to the state in the next 10 years or so. One of the problems that I see with it is it kind of intrudes on home rule. I feel that as we looked in this presentation, you are the town mothers and fathers. You decide, because you are elected as for the people's will, what is in your town. And I don't think that should be a decision that I should make as a legislator, or the governor should make or that kind of thing. It should be your decision and the town people's decision on what happens in your town. So, and that's why we have home rule all across the state. And, that's a very, very important item. So yeah, we've been very busy. We're always very busy with constituent outreach, any problems that constituents have in New York State, whether it comes DOT, DMV, DEC, all our wonderful agencies that we have in the state. There's always something that comes up, where there's a snag, and we try to cut through the red tape and help people, because a lot of times you can't do it on your own. You try to call up to Albany and try to get the problem solved, and nobody's there to answer you. So we're trying to really, dig in deep with a lot of these constituent cases, try to get some sort of resolution for people. And I think that's very important. And if we can't do it, we try to find the people that can do it. Because, we can't do everything, unfortunately. But I got to say, we have a good partnership for Tuxedo with Senator Skoufis and myself. Things that I can't do, his office can do. So we work hand in hand on a lot of things. We're going to be going after the budget process. We're here until June. So there's a lot of local bills that we're doing for a lot of the municipalities. Time before June, if you know of a local bill that we need to bring up, to fix something in the state, let us know as soon as possible. That way we can start, getting that rolling and hopefully have it passed before June. Usually those bills get signed by the governor or vetoed by the governor by the end of the year. So it's a pretty long process. But, we definitely would love to hear from you if you think you need something in that regard. And also, the presentation we just saw, absolutely fantastic. It reminded me a lot of what we did in the town of Deer Park, probably a little over 10 years ago now. And, one of the things we wanted to see economic development, economic opportunity in the town. And it's starting, the plans that we had 10 years ago are starting to really come into fruition now, because a lot of people are looking at it. Some people are moving in, they're new investors, that kind of thing. So, although we want to see it right now, like I know I wanted to see it 10 years ago, sometimes it does take some time, unfortunately, but it will get there. And it's a fantastic plan that you have in place. As far as like grant funding, we've helped out with like Port Jervis got a $10 million downtown revitalization grant. We helped out with that. Port Jervis, also the hospital, they got $40 million a few years ago that we participated in, to help revitalize the hospital, which was like the hub for that community. So, those kind of things we can help out with those kind of grant applications. We can search for opportunities for you too. And, a lot of times it comes from the governor's office, or it may come from economic development in the county, or it could be a federal grant. And we'll work with our congressman to try to get those monies that we send to Washington back here. So that's what we're all about. We can help you out with that whenever you need help.
Well, as you know, Carl, a lot of what affects Tuxedo affects the greater area around us. we're the watershed for drinking water from literally millions of people. That's what our sewer system is doing dramatically, a new $10 million plant to purify the water that we're adding there. And that new sewer system will certainly address that. We're cleaning up a toxic dump site at our highway department. Again, we're surrounded by state parks that are of value to literally tens of millions of people, and we're really the gateway to the rest of Orange County and the Hudson Valley. So we offer on the hospitality side the forested areas that we're the second largest state forest in the state of New York. So what we contribute affects so many people, and environmental issues are really key here in Tuxedo. So I look forward to having you come back, and we'll explain to you what our problems are. I know that this is statewide, dealing with 100-year-old infrastructure, but
Yeah.
certainly Tuxedo really has importance downstream for all the people in northern New Jersey who drink the water from the Ramapo, and we take it very seriously. So we look forward to you coming back and taking that tour and helping your colleagues understand that this isn't just a 98th district issue. This is important to the rest of the state and our bordering residents in northern New Jersey. So
Sure, I totally agree with you. And one of the things that I was also thinking of, very similar to Port Jervis, because you have a fantastic location, a fantastic area of beauty, of opportunity with the train, with the thruway right here. There's a lot of different areas that you can really capitalize on with the town and really, really make it excel. Get a lot of ratables in, and good ratables. And what I've told the council in Port Jervis many times, they're the last stop on the train station. So once that downtown is ready to go, I mean, you can market to New York City residents to come up here. And we already have the Renaissance Fair here, so you're getting the traffic already. But things like possibly an exit that comes off the thruway, to bring you right into the town. Again, marketing to the New York City residents to come use the train, come up, use the trails, use, do, nature walks, just enjoy the country living of Tuxedo. I think people will absolutely love that, and they're looking for that, and I think this is a great opportunity. So whatever I can do to help out, I'm here for it.
thank you, Assemblyman.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
As you know, we have a full agenda. but
Yes,
We really do
absolutely.
appreciate you coming down here. We look forward to working together on it.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I have just one more comment. I believe your office wrote a letter on our behalf for the community funding program for the District 18, which we should hear Monday or Tuesday about.
Oh, good.
We're hoping that you guys did.
Yes, oh, yeah, no,
Up to
we
you.
definitely
We
did.
think you did. Your office and also Senator Screwface's office, we asked for you to put in a good word for us, because we want this, the sewer system to be fixed, and that's going to affect the Hamlet area, which is our main district, business district. So, yeah, I think your office did do that.
Yes, definitely. And anytime you need that for anything, any grant application, anything that you need, just let us know. We're happy to do it. We're happy to reach out to the contacts for you and see what we can do to get some of our money back over here. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, the
Thank you.
consolidated funding application hopefully will be,
Yes, that'll be a big thing.
that'll be big.
Mm-hmm,
Well,
absolutely.
my job is to move this meeting forward.
Yes,
so I
oh,
thank
yes,
you
sir,
so much,
yes.
Assemblyman.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I just want to make,
What?
Howard, could you please call, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Howard, could you just let Michael Richardson know that we're running about 20 minutes late? Howard, please, thank you.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to move to our agenda items. I'm going to put the resolution to appoint part-time officer Margaret Carey up first. That's our resolution. It's item number 4. It should be on page 8 of your packet. We have Chief Truzino here. I don't think he can be seen on the camera. Can you pull a wider shot there? by
Not
any
that
chance?
wide, you have to s-
See, now Marissa is going to Hollywood. You're going to Hollywood.
There we go.
All right.
Supervisor, I don't think you have anything else for me this evening, so.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Very
Sean.
nice seeing everybody in person.
Thank you, Sean.
Sean?
Yes.
And thank you so much for helping us so much with our community funding application.
Happy to. Good luck.
Okay, it's listed as agenda item number 4, resolution to appoint part-time police officer. I'll make a motion, ask for a second in a moment, that the town board of the town of Tuxedo hereby appoints Margaret Carey as a part-time police officer at an hourly rate of $32.33. I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Maria May, excuse me, Councilperson Maria May. Before we take a vote on this, Chief, could you just tell us a little bit about why you think Margaret is the perfect candidate for our part-time officer?
I met Margaret a few times over in Greenwood Lake. I didn't know that she was looking for another position, so I just met her as the cop doing her job. She's knowledgeable, very personable, everything that you look for in a local police officer. So when I heard that she was interested in coming here, I said, absolutely, drop that resume. So we're in the midst of doing her background investigation, and everything right now. Of course, that takes a little time, but
So she's a fully trained officer?
Yes.
And able to step in and get right to work?
absolutely.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions, do you?
No?
Anybody?
I have a comment. So when we did the Tuxedo, the police reinvention, one of the things that, one of the points that came up with the community was more female officers. And you're doing a really good job of that.
As I've said before, I only have one box to check, and that is qualified officer.
I know.
So
But you know
she's
what?
absolutely.
There are differences. There are some differences in the way that, the experience of, females and males. And, it's good to have both, and.
I welcome anybody that's qualified.
So if there's no further comment, just take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show it was unanimous. Thank you, Chief, for
Thank you.
continuing to fill these very important roles, and look forward to meeting Ms. Carey as soon as possible.
Thank you
In
very much.
uniform. Okay, we're going to go back to what's resolution number 1. Should be on page 3. Okay, this is a resolution to enter an agreement with Fusco Engineering to provide building department services. Because we need additional, engineering services related to Tuxedo Farms, and whereas Fusco Engineering and Land Surveying, DPC of Middletown, New York, currently provides engineering services to the town and is fully capable and experienced in providing the services necessary to fulfill the duties of a building inspector, enforcement of New York State building, construction codes. Now there, for the resolved, the town board authorizes the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Fusco Engineering and Land Surveying, DPC, in the form attached here too. So we have an agreement that we're looking to execute.
Yeah.
Right, it's on page 4.
So it's effective May 1st?
Howard, could you just tell us, this is basically an at-will kind of arrangement? There's no specific obligations here other than assigning projects as we have done in the past with Fusco Engineering. Could you just expound a little bit about that, what this agreement binds us or does not bind us to do?
Well, you're retaining them as needed to perform services to assist the building department in review of applications for building permits and to do inspections, typical work of the building department. And it is an at-will relationship. It can be canceled on notice by either side. And they've tried to structure their proposal in a way that gives the town a choice of options with respect to what services you may need or want them to perform at various times throughout the Tuxedo Farms project.
So on page 4, Howard, it says the term of this agreement is from May 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024. But as you pointed out, this is an at-will kind of arrangement, so nothing in this binds us to really much of anything other than to establish this agreement so that we can contract services as needed.
Yeah, but you have to pay for them when you do.
Of course.
Right.
Any other questions by town board members?
I would just comment that Fusco has this company has a lot of experience. They act as the entirety of the building department for a number of municipalities in this part of Orange County, which is also something we're not asking them to do. We are not replacing the building department, we are augmenting it.
So this is enforcement as well as inspections?
Well, enforcement is, inspections, enforcements are sort of the same thing. But
Okay.
yes, it's that, it's plan review, it is.
Yeah, I meant plan review, to be fair, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's
Okay.
the sort of both administrative and, if we want, enforcement portions of being the building inspector.
So in terms of enforcement, that would be something that the board would request for a specific incident, or because it's not it wouldn't be a routine part of this function?
I expect it's gonna be routine.
Okay.
For example, once Tuxedo Farms gets into construction, they're going to need regular and frequent
Yeah.
inspections.
Okay.
So we've already identified that the current staffing of the building department isn't sufficient to have for when Tuxedo Farm comes online. What this does, amongst other things, is it gives us a very deep bench, both in terms of, if we suddenly need 3 people,
They have it,
they have it.
yeah,
It also, there are a lot of rather large and technical buildings that are about to be built at Tuxedo Farms.
Yeah.
Especially for the commons portion. And both the engineering and the inspection of those is something of a specialty.
Right.
Which they have
okay,
expertise to cover.
okay, thank you.
I think you actually have to get a second to do all that stuff.
All right, so,
You read the resolution, but I don't think we seconded it.
all right, so I'm making a motion to enter this agreement with Fusco Engineering to provide building department services. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Michelle Lindsay. Any further discussion on this? No. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're moving to item number 3, resolution settling of a tax certiorari claim. Somebody that's on page 7 of your packet. So, resolution settling a tax certiorari claim, whereas Genesis Real Estate Partners 1 LLC has commenced a tax certiorari proceeding against the town of Tuxedo in the Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of Orange for the following years, 2022 and 2023, tax assessment year bearing Orange County Index EF 004111-2022. Whereas it appears from the recommendation of the town assessor and Kara J. Cavallo, Esquire of J&G Law LLP, counsel for the town of Tuxedo, in the aforesaid proceedings, upon a thorough investigation of the claims that further proceedings and litigation by the town would involve considerable expense with the attendant uncertainty of the outcome, and that the settlement of the above matter as more fully set forth below is reasonable and in the best interests of the town. And whereas Genesis Real Estate Partners 1 LLC is willing to settle this proceeding without interest, costs of or disbursement in the following matter. 1, that the proceeding for the 2022-2023 tax year be compromised and settled by the assessment being reduced from $246,000 to a total assessment of $203,300 for tax map number 106-1-18. Item 2, that the petitioner's real property taxes on said parcel above described for the 2022-2023 school taxes and the 2023 county and town taxes be adjusted accordingly, and the petitioner to be reimbursed for any overpayment or be credited with the corresponding decrease in taxes as the case may be. Now be it therefore resolved that the proposed settlement as set forth and described above is hereby accepted pursuant to Article 68 of the town law, and it is further resolved that Jim Davies, assessor of the town of Tuxedo, and Carrick J. Cavallo Esquire, on behalf of J&G Law LLP, be and they hereby are designated as the officers of town who shall apply for such approval pursuant to the aforesaid section and law. And be it further,
You make a motion.
oh,
Motion.
okay. No,
Oh,
no,
wait,
no.
Wait a minute, sorry. And be it further.
Howard, is there verbiage missing there? I don't know if you see that. Sorry, Marissa, did you have something?
I'm gonna look it up now.
Thank you.
Yep, there is stuff missing.
Do you have it in front of you, Howard, by any chance?
No, I only have what you have.
Oh, just be it further, and then on a motion by, seconded by.
My motion made by myself and seconded by Jay Reichcott.
Okay. And then the foregoing resolution was adopted on a vote of.
Okay, so we're ready to vote. Okay, so we have a second. Any further discussion by the town board?
Nope.
Okay, on a motion to vote, all in favor? Aye. Be it noted that it was unanimous, and that we had reviewed this prior to this, by the way, just for the record. Okay, so we're done with that one.
Number 5, we did number 4.
Right. A resolution to approve the purchase of John Deere mini excavator. This is item,
Do we have to do
5.
this, or no, we did it already?
We did that one already, yep. Thank you.
Or did we
That
do
was your
it?
female officer. that we
I
did.
know, but I mean,
Oh.
did we do this part of it?
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay,
No
sorry.
worries,
I didn't-
no worries. Thank you for looking out. So the resolution to approve purchase of John Deere mini excavator and allow town supervisor to sign the lease purchase agreement. Thank you, Marissa. So I'll make a motion, ask for a second, that the town board of the town of Tuxedo hereby approves the purchase through United Agricultural and Turf Northeast of a 2022 John Deere 50G compact excavator, state bid contract, New York State OGS contract, PC 69403. Contract price, $76,613.43 to be drawn from budget line DA 9785.600. I'll make a motion. I'm sorry, that's the second one. So I'll make a motion. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Seconded by Deirdre Murphy. This is the same piece of equipment we discussed at, I think, at least one or two previous meetings. Rob, do you want to just say the importance of this equipment? I think you use this very heavily in the,
Yes, and the dirt pile.
Dirt piles.
On the dirt pile, we use it every day. We've been renting a machine because there were none available when we started this project. Up until this year, they've just started becoming available again. We couldn't even rent any other ones. So we were paying $2,500 a month in rent. This is $1,500 a month to own, and it's a lease purchase, 5-year lease purchase.
So at the end, we'll own this machine instead of just paying rent and,
Right, it's ours. The one we turned back, we had already spent over $100,000 in rental fees.
Right.
Which don't go anywhere to the purchase of it. So, and they would not work with us to purchase the equipment, so.
any further comment or questions from town board members?
No?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we need a motion. I'll make it, ask for a second to authorize Supervisor Kenneth English to enter into this agreement on behalf of the town of Tuxedo with John Deere Financial for 60 months at $1,544.78 a month. The terms of this agreement have been reviewed by Town Attorney Howard Prado. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
I'll go with Maria May. Thank you both. Again, any further question on that? I think it's been discussed ad nauseum. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, we're done with that one. Now, we need a new mower. Agenda item number 6, it should be on the packet, page 9. Motion made by myself. I'll ask for a second that the Town Board of the Town of Tuxedo hereby approves the purchase through United Agriculture and Turf Northeast of a John Deere Z960M Z-Track with extended warranty. The state bid contract, New York State LG PC 69683. Contract price $13,331 from the budget line DA 5130.20. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? I'm looking to my left this time.
Second.
Seconded by Michelle Lindsay. Okay, there we go. Rob, could you just tell us a little bit about why you need this machine?
Well, it's replacing a 2004 Toro lawnmower, basically. It's a, excuse me, it's a field mower. The one from 2004 is still a almost good mower. The problem is we can't get parts. So the next time it breaks down will be the last time it breaks down, which hopefully we get half the year out of. Who knows what we're going to get out of it. But it's to replace that. We plan on surplusing the old one for whatever we get, put it out to auction like we surplus everything.
I think that's agenda item 6B. So
What's
we'll be
that?
talking. I'd just like to ask a question to our account clerk, Carrie. So we have here that the budget line is 5130.200. And can you just confirm that that is correct? And also we have that fund, that balance in there to cover this purchase?
We have confirmed it's in budget for this year. And Rob was going to state that it also came in, both pieces of equipment came in under state bid.
Very good. Any further questions from town board members?
No?
I think I made a motion, Michelle seconded. All in favor? Aye. Very
Would we
good,
able
Rob.
to get it soon, or is it like everything seems to be on delay?
No,
Yeah.
we, actually, I know we talked about it last meeting or something about a lawnmower, and I did reserve one. So we should be able to get it within the next week or so.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
For the season.
Yeah, for the season.
Okay, to prepare to unload, or should I say, auction off the 2004 Toro lawnmower. Agenda item 6B, resolution for the town clerk to put the town equipment out to surplus. I'll make a motion, ask for a second, that the town board of Town of Tuxedo hereby declares the following as surplus and authorizes the town clerk to put them out to bid with Auction International. That's the infamous 2004 Toro lawnmower model 74415, serial number 25005427, excuse me. So I made the motion. I'll turn again to my left.
Same pattern here.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, by Jay Reichgant. Any further discussion on this by the town board? None
Just
declared?
stop saying it's almost broken, or no one will want to buy it.
Right, okay. No, but it's in fine condition right now, and it's expected to run for quite a
10 more
long time.
years.
It's good to go. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. I'm sure my wife is gonna say, boy, if you get that Ken, you can cut our lawn in 5 minutes. And I'm gonna say, yeah, and they're gonna call me lefty, because I'll probably cut my arm off. No, we don't wanna do that. All right, so all joking aside, let's move forward. Resolution to approve town clerk annual training. Make a motion, ask for a second, that the town board approve 2023 New York State Town Clerks Association training in Albany for town clerk Marissa Dolbaum, April 23rd through the 25th in Syracuse, New York. Make the motion. Do I have a second to my right? Deirdre Murphy. Her hand went up first. Okay. Do we need any discussion on this?
I just have, I
Please.
have a question.
Okay.
Is this something that the deputy clerk should also be attending?
She could, but who would be running our office in our absence?
I don't. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be the only hesitation, but what I do learn, I do bring back and teach her. Yeah.
So I made the motion, Deirdre seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Okay, agenda item number 8, resolution to approve BMI Imaging Services to convert microfiche. If anybody knows what that is, boy, you're dating yourselves,
I
to
know
digital
what it
files.
is.
So do I. We're having worked for the New York Public Library for many, many years. But it's certainly an outdated technology. And so we have a resolution before us to convert the to microfiche to digital files. I'll make a motion, ask for a second, that the Town Board of Town of Tuxedo hereby approves services from BMI Imaging to convert building department records from microfiche to digital records for a cost of up to $6,000. Do I have a second, turning to my right?
I'll second,
Okay, by Maria May.
since I know what microfiche is.
There you go. So that actually sounds like a very reasonable cost expense, $6,000.
How far
So,
back do
I-
you have to keep records, you know?
Retention schedule, it varies, but a lot of the building department records, I believe, to infinity,
Oh, yeah.
plus a year, yeah.
And what happened is that a lot of the archives some years ago were put on microfiche. For those of you, for someone who might not know what microfiche is, it's not 1,000 little fish. It is, it's high-resolution photos on
Yes.
transparencies.
Yeah.
So you can store something like 20 or 25 standard pages on one index card size piece of film. We have a reader that blows it up. The reader is on its last legs. There's no way to print from it anymore. There's no way to back it up. This came up almost a year ago, actually, and there was some discussion by the town board. And then, for the usual reasons, it never moved forward, but the time is now, as they say. So we have a bid from BMI. The bid is actually slightly under. It's $5,750, but just in case there's postage or something. We got bids from a couple of other companies, or we didn't get bids. We asked Iron Mountain and maybe one other, and they no bidded us. It's not big enough. And it's under the number is small enough that we could in theory do it without any other bids. So everything's kosher, as they say. We have a quote. We don't have a contract yet. Good thing I yell a lot. We have a quote. We don't have a contract yet. Howard will review it and all of those things before he finally sign off on it.
I believe this is in the budget, right? It's in.
Not in
No?
the building department budget, it wasn't placed in it for this year, so we went to the history line. Can I just ask, who got the quotes, so I know who to go to?
Deborah got the quote.
Thank you.
And if you remind me, I'll email you the information that I have, and it was an email
That will help.
quote. Yeah, and I'll see a squirrel and forget, so send me an email and remind me, please.
So this also eliminates the whole storage problem and the degradation of these files, which.
Of the fiche themselves,
Yeah,
yes, or, the office
Films.
burning down or
Exactly.
something,
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Can't remember where I heard of that recently, but that was a thing just last week in some town.
Brooklyn.
Was it Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
Okay. So I made the motion. It was seconded by Maria. Any further discussion by the town board? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that's agenda item number 8. I just want to remind the town board that we have a schedule. We need to go into an executive session, so if you could somehow consider either very, very brief updates or not doing them at all, because we still got to do everything else. So I'm going to jump to the minutes. I'll make a motion, ask for a second to accept the minutes of the regular bi-monthly town board meetings that was held on March 13th, and then the same thing for bi-monthly regular town board meeting of March 27th. I'll start with the 13th. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Seconded by Michelle. Any additions or comments you wanted to make? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just
Then
Ken,
moving-
I'm sorry, show me as abstaining because I was absent for that
Right.
meeting.
So Jay abstained on that one. And then the 27th meeting, make a motion. I'll ask Deidre to.
I was.
Oh, you weren't there, so, okay, so
Yeah.
Maria, you
I
can.
was not at the meeting of the 27th.
Okay, then I'll ask for Jay to second the motion.
I'll second that.
There you go, Jay. All in favor of the three of us?
Aye.
Okay, that's taken care of. And we have vouchers.
If I can just, I know that we are really short, but there's a couple of items that I really want to get out.
Okay, when we get to our announcements, if you don't mind, I
Yeah.
promise I'll get to that. Let's just
Yes.
knock these out, and we'll come back. Maria, thank you for, let me just complete this. So we have the vouchers. As Carrie Alley, our account clerk, has been doing a great service for us, pointing out the ones over $5,000. I just asked the town board to quickly review those. I know we've had this in front of us.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion, ask that the following vouchers, having been audited by the town board, are approved for payment. Claim number 201-292-1368 through 201-292-1446. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Deirdre Murphy. Okay, any further comment by the town board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the vouchers are.
Sorry, I do have one comment. Don't forget to sign the book.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
you have that there, right? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back to, town board update. Maria, you wanted to make a comment, please? Please
Just
go
really
right ahead.
quickly, I'll go fast. The community funding grant, I spoke to Pat Ryan's office, and Monday or Tuesday of next week, they will be announced. And number two is on April 22nd and April 23rd. On April 22nd, the high school and the TPO are going to have an Earth Day cleanup. And that is at 9 to 10:30 in the morning. And on the next day, we're going to have the Earth Day 5K. There are two races. One is for the little ones at 8:30, a quarry field in Warwick Brook Road. And then for the regular folks at 9 o'clock. And you'll see signs everywhere. We really ask you to sign up. In lieu of registration, we're asking participants to bring gifts for the Warwick Valley Humane Society. They need, a list. If you go on our website and if you go on wvhumane.org, they have the list of things. And there will be T-shirts for all participants. The other thing is summer camp is, we're working on it really hard. Kathleen Metcalf, our new director of recreation, we have secured the Weewa Lake. And so we're now making arrangements for buses and staffing, and she's interviewing the people that are returning, the new people, and so on. And the last thing is ARPA compliance. We did our second ARPA compliance report, and thanks to ARPA, we have the Zoom room. The highway department now doesn't have gross water that's killing our cars, and also the scoping of the pipes. And we still have money left to do some more work on the pipes. So that's it.
Thank you. I guess I'll move from left to right. Go ahead, Jay.
Okay, just a short one. Over the next 2 weeks, the water department, the Village of Tuxedo Water Department, which provides water to the East Village and the hamlet, is doing their annual system flushing. This week, they're flushing in the park. Next week, they're going to be flushing in the town section. That means a couple of things: low water pressure during the day, maybe some extra rust in your water. If you're on that water system, you should have gotten a letter from the village. There's a phone number to call so you can find out when they're doing your street. If you didn't get the letter, it is on the town website, I think. And if you didn't get a letter, then somebody drop me an email and I'll go yell at the water department. That's what I got.
Okay, I'll send to the town board, so look out for it, an update on the energy audit that we are conducting on Town Hall. It's not happening yet, but we're getting all the information we need. Thank goodness Abby Klein was able to help me. Thank you, Carrie. On all the energy uses, and we'll be talking with Orange and Rockland to further understand our systems. And then the community choice aggregation, outreach and education phase will continue through mid-July. We'll go out for an RFP in July. Opt-out letters will be sent in September, and we're looking for a launch in December.
Great. Did you?
I think I did mine.
Okay, good. I'm going to pass as well. Okay, so I'm going to ask that we skip the public comments. We need to go into an executive session unless you have anything you really need to speak. No? Okay, thank you. You do?
Yeah, I was talking to Postmaster Tuxedo the other day, and she wants to know what is the latest with the parking lot at the post office, if anything?
Okay.
So we just don't have it in the current plan because of the funding required, but.
Well, it's also, I will respond to that because also Rob and I were walking the parking lots that we currently have for commuter parking, and they are so underused at this point. I will bring it before the town board, a motion to designate many of those parking spaces as open parking in the town because both the commuter lot that people call the lower lot is almost empty most days. And the premium spots that have been rented around the train station depot, pass by there any day and you'll see probably about 40% of the spaces at minimum. So that's as far as we're going to take that right now, Jerry. But thank you for your continuing reminder about that. We do take that seriously.
Howard wants to say something.
Howard, please go ahead. All right, I think we can hear you, sir.
Okay, I think Deidre's been working on the RFP for the Greenway grant, and I'm not sure the board has yet approved it. So you should be in a position to take action on that this evening so that that could get advertised and get out there.
Can we just approve that?
I couldn't hear
No, we
that.
didn't approve that.
We didn't approve that, and we haven't seen it yet, so I'm gonna say,
Howard,
let's put it on the table until, I mean, I know that we have some urgency, but we should
See it.
see it.
Yeah, can we also just get a detailed report of how to do an RFP? Because this has taken really a lot of time because nobody knows how to do it.
Okay, well, certainly, but
But Howard,
we
I
can't
thought
get into a
Howard.
discussion about
I
this
know,
now.
but
We
I thought
can't.
Howard sent it to everybody.
Okay, well, we're not going to take action on that tonight. If it's not in the packet, we're going to have to delay that. All right, so
Thank you for bringing it up, Howard.
I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session to deal with personnel issues. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second
Seconded
that.
by Jay Reichcott. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Okay, so what I wanted to point out to everybody here is we're not going to be taking further action this evening. Otherwise, we're going to have to all go into this room, and we need to get Michael Richardson, our labor consultant. So I'd like to advise everyone who's participating in this meeting as an observer to understand that we will not be taking further action so that we can continue to use the Zoom account to communicate with our consultants. Okay, I apologize, but makes our life a lot easier. So Mary, we won't be doing any further actions this evening. We'll just be going to our executive session and then closing out
Thank you,
after
sir.
that.
Good
Got
night,
it.
Jerry.
All right, so we made the motion to go into the executive session at 8:34. No. I get that a lot.
Everybody, the whole world is now listening in.
I know.
All right, so I request that those on the call, other than Howard and Michael Richardson, please, if you need
Good
to
notes.
eject anybody.